Today we're going to be talking about the camera essentials I use to make YouTube videos for you and for brand clients. Now, I wouldn't be able to make the videos that I make today without this stuff. It would look different, it would sound different, it'd be a whole different beast. So if you like the type of content you see here on this channel, then this is a solid list of things you need to make it happen. Over the past 5 years, I put a lot of time and research into figuring out what tools I need and prefer, and I've found that time and time again I'd reach for these same accessories to elevate the quality of my videos. I've also been able to shave down a lot of time in the shooting and editing process with this gear. We'll cover the obvious equipment like cameras and lighting, but at the end I'll also let you in on some tips that have made a huge difference for me. Whether you're just starting out or have been in the game for a while now, I'm confident that you'll find something useful in this breakdown that'll save you a lot of time and frustration when making your own videos. Let's dive in. My main camera is the Sony A7C. When I bought this camera back in December 2020, it was touted as Sony's entry-level full-frame mirrorless camera, and to this day, it still does everything I need to make crispy content. Talk about value. $1,700 US at the time got you 4K cinematic 24 FPS, super smooth slow motion at 120 FPS full HD, the ability to shoot in S-Log3, which is Sony's version of shooting in log, a video format that's super desaturated, gives you a higher dynamic range, and a lot of flexibility when you're color grading during the editing process, and a full frame sensor to give you flexibility to crop in with that Super 35 functionality. I currently use it with a 16-35 G Master lens, but before that I was shooting with a 20mm f1.8. It was wide enough for vlogging, it gave you a nice blurry background, and it did everything I needed it to do. I loved how light and versatile the A7C is. I use it for vlogging, cinematic shots, top-down angles, buttery smooth B-roll, and all of these are achievable on this rig, and I've found that practice and repetition here are more important than simply just acquiring the gear. Aside from the camera setup, this next accessory is arguably the most time-saving, most useful thing in my entire creator kit. This thing saves me from having to get up and reset after each take and ensures that I'm in focus before I start filming. And it reduces so much camera wobble from needing to physically press record every time I want to do a take. This must-have essential for any sit-down talking head creator is the remote shutter. This obviously lets you focus, start and stop recording, and take photos without having to get up and press the button on the camera, but it goes so much deeper than that. It makes life easier when your camera is mounted high, above, and out of reach. Now, one last tip is to make sure you get the remote shutter that's compatible with your camera brand. This one specifically was made for Sony cameras, and it cost me around $30 to $40, but the prices may vary depending on what type of remote shutter and what type of camera brand you use. If you shoot with an iPhone, you can use your Apple Watch as a remote shutter. If you didn't know, now you know, and make sure you use that to save yourself time, I'm telling you. Some might say this next piece of gear is specialized, and you may not need one depending on what type of content you shoot. But I found that a camera gimbal is very useful for stabilizing your footage, especially when you're walking or doing running shots. Way more handy than I expected. A big problem I've run into with these though is that the hardware is usually expensive and it prices me out for shots that I don't really do all the time. All that changes with the 3E gimbal from ZHIYUN. The 3E is the brand's compact entry-tier gimbal for mirrorless cameras and lighter setups. And from what I've seen, the feature set is robust. Low slung mode. You can see all the junk in my office. But very smooth. Check this out. Very easy to set up. Do that heel toe. That painting is definitely going in. Beyond the bread and butter camera stabilization, features that stand out to me include the undersling mode for low shots, being able to switch seamlessly from landscape to portrait for vertical content, and a 16-hour runtime per full charge. Not to mention, this thing is compact and lightweight, so you're not hauling around bulky equipment when you're on the move. Another must-have essential in my camera kit are these little quick release plates from FALCAM. They also go by the name Ulanzi FALCAM system. It essentially allows you to very quickly attach or detach your camera from any of these other accessories, saving you so much time. Let me explain. Typically, when you need to mount your camera to a tripod or a C-stand, there will be a 1/4-20 post that you need to thread onto your camera. So you're sitting here attaching the tripod onto your camera. It takes you a couple seconds before you can set it down and set up for your shot. Add that to the fact that as a typical content creator, especially me in this setup, I have several different angles. Talking head camera, top-down shot. I use a lot of accessories that need to be bolted onto the camera, like a microphone, tripod, or a monitor, for instance. What you end up having is just so much time in between takes that it may even interrupt the creative process. Enter the FALCAM system. I use the F22 plate. There's a female end and a male end, and all you have to do is get those plates, attach them once to your camera and all your mounting accessories, and then after that, it's breezy. Just snap on your camera and then press a button and slide the thing off when you're done. And having that quick release plate ecosystem throughout the bag allows me to quickly move my camera from one mounting area to another, so I can continue getting takes without having to stop and unscrew and rescrew. Time to up the efficiency of our workflow so we can get more done in less time. Next up is lighting. Whether you're outside, sit next to a big window, or use completely artificial lighting to light your setup, I think we can all agree that it's really important to have your lighting setup dialed in. And I think that the Molus X100 from ZHIYUN is a great addition to any kit. You can customize the light and intensity coming out of the Molus X100 to fulfill those needs. This thing is also one of the most portable 100-watt lights I've ever seen. Like, typically, I've only seen lights where you have to plug it in. This one comes with a portable battery. It gives you options on whether you want to wire it in so you have light all night or however long you need to shoot, or if you need to be outside where there's no plugs, no outlets around. And I just enjoy how ZHIYUN designed this light. They designed a cooling system that allows for maximum airflow through these things. The body is made of some sort of see-through polycarbonate, so you can see all the circuitry inside. I think that's pretty neat. One thing I would definitely recommend is to get the Bowens mount adapter for this light. Naturally, it takes a ZHIYUN adapter, so you are locked into using ZHIYUN's accessories. So if you want this light to be compatible with other Bowens mount accessories that you may already have or intend on buying in the future, I would definitely get the Bowens mount adapter for this light as well. Now, one of the pain points of being a content creator is that after the shoot, you've done all of the takes you need, you have all the props out on the table, all the products, all the camera accessories and equipment. You gotta reset it. You gotta put everything away, reset your office back to 0 before you can begin shooting on another job or for another video. Well, this next accessory takes the pain out of that because it is a pop-up backdrop from RAUBAY. The RAUBAY pop-up backdrop is a portable and clean fabric stand that sets up in seconds and provides you with an additional backdrop to vary up your shots and possibly hide all the clutter that you missed in your previous cleanup. It comes in a variety of premium wrinkle-resistant fabrics. I got the neutral gray. The stand auto-locks wherever you decide to position the backdrop, so you don't have to do anything other than pull it up, and it stows neatly away in its protective aluminum casing. One thing I've learned over these years on YouTube is that you want to vary up your scenes and shots so that you keep your audience, your viewer, entertained. And this pop-up backdrop is a very easy way to add an additional scene into your existing room. All right, you're hearing me now, right? That means we gotta talk about audio. Now, I used to use a shotgun mic like every other content creator out there, but I've found that I like the freedom to move around and not need to talk towards or into a stationary mic. So I'm using the DJI mic system. It's a wireless mic system that comes with a receiver and 2 transmitters and a charging case. It clips onto you either with the included clip, or you can magnetize it to yourself using the magnetic plate on either side of your shirt. And the transmitter records wirelessly, providing crisp audio up to 820 feet away, 16 hours of recording time, and can even record a separate clean audio file as a backup. Check it out. I'm right in front of the camera. You can hear me just fine. Now I'm on this side of my office and you can hear me just fine. I'm gonna do a little hide and seek behind this light. I know you can see me, but I also know that you can hear me. I can even turn around and face the other way and the audio sounds just as clear. And that's because the microphone is always underneath my mouth right here. I don't have to worry about pointing my mouth in the direction of the shotgun mic that I have up here. And it's given me a lot of freedom to kind of do my own thing as I'm filming. This next accessory goes on your camera lens. It screws on and protects the lens while offering a unique, dreamy look for your storytelling. I'm talking about the PolarPro Everyday Filter in collaboration with ShortStash. It's a polarizer that reduces glare and reflections, combined with a subtle black mist filter that adds soft halation and bloom to lighten your scene while keeping the darks dark. I'm gonna demo it for you real quick. Let me unscrew it right now. Okay. This is what it looks like without the filter. Take note of the lights in the background, the windows, and then this is what it looks like. And this is what the shot looks like with the filter on. Notice again, the lights, they're a little more bloomy. There's a little glow surrounding the lights. It's a little softer, but it's still very subtle. And obviously this depends greatly on your tastes and preferences in the shot, but I found that it looks really awesome to me, and it's another way to protect the lens. So I'm all for it. If you wanted to take half of those accessories and combine them into one single thing, we're talking about the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. This has been out for about a year now, but it's no less groundbreaking. 4K 120p recording, stabilized gimbal footage, complete with its own sweet gimbal moves like orbit and object tracking, a rotating screen that lets you switch between horizontal and vertical format recording with one single, very addicting flick of the screen. The DJI Mic 2 that comes with it records in 32-bit float, which is a fancy way of saying that it's able to capture higher highs and lower lows without clipping or compromising the audio. The best part of this thing is that it allows you to easily fly under the radar. Just slip this thing into your pocket, and if you see a shot that you like, pull it out, flip the screen, record, and then go about your day. Nobody really bats an eye because it's not a huge mirrorless camera with a lens and a mic on top and you're filming and holding a gimbal. It's just something in the palm of your hand that feels like you're just pulling out your iPhone and recording something and then putting it away. Nobody thinks twice about that. On top of that, it's able to capture such quality shots when you're on the go or traveling. If you're just starting out in your content creator journey and you don't have a single piece of gear, you're starting from scratch, the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 Creator Combo is the direction I would point you in. Now that you've seen the gear, I wanted to send you off into the world with some useful tips that I've picked up over the years that have saved me a ton of time and have elevated the overall quality of my videos. Tip number 1 is to say the thing that you just finished filming out loud before you cut.
Intro, done. Okay, that is Sony A7C. 3E ZHIYUN done. That's the FALCAM.
Instead of having to go back and watch through the entire clip at 1.5x or 2x speed, go all the way to the end to the last 5 seconds and you'll hear yourself say, quick fire tip number 1, good take. That way you know that clip was good and you can immediately throw it into the timeline for trimming. Even if it was a bad take, what I usually do is I'll say scratch before I cut. So when I scrub to the end and I see that scratch, I immediately delete it and I don't have to worry about wasting any more time going back to that clip and wondering, oh, did I shoot something I could use in this clip? No, immediately cut. Tip number 2 is to organize your shots by scene. Shoot all the things you need to shoot at one scene before moving on to the next scene and setting that up. As someone who enjoys making sure every little thing is just perfect, you know what I mean? Like, you can easily get carried away with that and spend so much time setting up the shot but never actually pressing record. So all it takes is a little bit of scripting and planning ahead so that you shoot all the shots you need here at this desk before moving to the top-down table, setting up your camera overhead, and doing all the takes that you need to take with the top-down camera. It just makes things way more efficient for the shooting portion of video production. Tip number 3 is when you're all done shooting and you're about to jump into editing, take the time to clean and organize your office and put all your camera equipment back where it needs to be, back into their homes, before you begin editing. Now I know you're gonna be eager to jump into the editing process to get the video out sooner, but you're gonna save more time overall because eventually you'll start misplacing things. It'll be products and props at first, but eventually you're gonna start misplacing things like batteries. And I can't tell you how many times I've lost this remote shutter that I've, spoke in such high praise of. I think this is my second remote shutter. Like, I bought one before and I just straight up lost that one, so I had to replace it with this one. It'll make your next shoot begin more smoothly. Tip number 4 is to bookmark cool shots you see on YouTube, Instagram, and other social media, and practice them during your off time. It's not only enough to buy the gear that allows you to do the thing, it's really important you know how to use that gear well. Practice the different in-body moves like pans and orbits so you get confident with moving smoothly to achieve whatever shot you want to do. Tip number 5, the most important tip of all, and I'm still struggling with this myself, is to just hit record. Just hit record. You can plan all you want, but planning for months and months and months and making sure you have every detail perfected and nailed down simply means that you still haven't recorded any % of your video. Start making videos even if it's messy, even if you hate it. Do it, learn from it, move on to the next. And you keep doing that and eventually you'll get better and better, and you'll start getting an idea of what types of videos you want to make. You'll start creating your own style. You'll start leaning into shots you like and avoiding shots you hate. Only way to learn that about yourself is to do the thing. Talking about all of this content creator stuff and the gear I need to get it done, and including some of the mindset thoughts that I use to continually make the content, gets me excited. And if you're at the beginning of your content creator journey, I'm super stoked for you. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or ideas that you want to hash out. I'd be glad to help however I can. If you found this video useful, make sure you save it for later so you can refer to it on your creator journey. If you want to learn more about the gear I use and how I use them, not only in creating videos, but in leading a balanced and meaningful life, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and welcome. It's good to have you here. Live with purpose. Peace.